Hi, I'm Tiffany, and I am the CEO and Principal Consultant of Organized Energy Coaching and Consulting. I am a mom of four, and I'm super proud of that. And I'm also a new plant mama of eight. I have over 17 years of entrepreneurial experience, and I'm super excited to do this presentation today. The tools you'll need when you're wanting to get a handle on your time management are going to be a planner, a mechanical pencil, a made-up mind, and discipline. Of course, those last two you can't get at your local store or shopping online. Those are things that you just have to have. And so I'll start and tell a little bit about myself before we go into it, and that's kind of going to help give the idea or information as to why this is such a passion of mine. And so, 2003, I began my first business, and in doing so, was super excited about growing and building and being my own boss. And had been married at that point about 3 years and had two little children at the time. They were stair steps, so they're about a year and a half apart. And I was super excited to feel like I was taking on the world. I was working at corporate America prior to opening this business, was a newlywed, now a new mom, and now I own this business, and I'm just like, yay, I can do it all. And so in addition to those things, I worked worked at the local church and had different responsibilities and leadership at different ministries and things there, and was a part of different organizations within the community, and had friends and family and just all these things. I just thought I could just pile it all up on my plate. And slowly but surely, as time went on and life began to happen, years rolled by, and I began to see that this thing wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. I was making the income I wanted to make, and held all the titles that I wanted to hold, and was excited to say I was doing all these things except for one thing. I was a public success and a private mess. I began to fail at my responsibilities at home. I wasn't horrible. I'm not going to say I was awful, but I know that I could have been better. But I was so excited about doing all these things for everywhere except for home, that home suffered the most because of my absence there, because I was always at a meeting or always at an event or always working or overseeing a project, or having staff meetings and whatever. And so all that being said, you know divorce has happened, and other things have happened as a result. And so when I got back on my feet and, kind of got tired of knocking my head up against the wall, and, I looked back and realized that the root to a lot of the issues I was having had a lot to do with time management. And so it's now my passion to help train others and coach others into mastering this thing, because it is super possible and it's so easy. And so anyway, with all that being said, that's why you can take it from me that I think I kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to this subject. I have failed miserably at it, and that's why I now can say that I do great at it. So let's go back to our tools that we're going to need. So with the planner, I know that everyone likes, these pretty planners. There's a lot of business out there, and people have, really began to make a fortune off of appealing to us with these beautiful, beautiful planners. But more than it being beautiful and the aesthetics appealing to us, we need to make sure that the planner we select is functional for us. And so in a really good planner, I like to make sure that I can do a lot of things on one page, or maybe if it's 2 pages for each day. So for the day, I don't need a planner that just gives me, a little room to write in my appointments. I need a planner that on each day, it gives me room to write out my appointments. And so usually those planners, kind of maybe start at 6 or 7 or 8 in the morning, and the time slots run until maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, or later at night. And so I like those planners because they have the different time slots, and you can fill in what you got to do for the day, appointments and otherwise. And then on the planner, because I journal a lot. For me, I am really big on developing the person holistically. So that's work, that's home, that's self-care and self-love and health and nutrition and all kinds of things. And so I need a planner that can handle all those areas of my life. And so I need a planner that gives me space to write in my appointments, but also space to write out my to-do list for the day as I set my intentions for the day, because it's very important. I need a planner that gives me room to kind of write out my meal planning for the day, and also to do like some habit or goal tracking, so that if you're trying to keep up with a certain amount of water or a certain amount of steps you're taking or whatever. I like to be able to journal, so I need a planner that gives me a little room to write out my feelings or journal a little bit. I need a planner that gives me room to kind of write notes for my devotion, because a part of my routine is I get up and I read my Bible or read some sort of spiritually uplifting or motivational type of book or literature. And so I need to be able to take notes, a few notes on those things. And then I like to practice gratitude. So I like to, write out the things I'm thankful for and write out a few affirmations each day. So there's a lot that I need to do with my planner, and it all helps me on every front, for life. And so I need a good planner, not just a planner that gives you a couple of spaces per day. So I suggest a daily planner versus a weekly or monthly planner. Next, a mechanical pencil. Now, I know people like to use pretty pens, and I can't blame you there, but the mechanical pencil makes it easy so that you can be flexible in your scheduling and in your planning. So if things come up and maybe something that you've written in or scheduled in, doesn't pan out, or you need to kind of make a small change to that thing, you can do so really easily. And you can just erase it and write it somewhere else. If you write it in with a pen, then it's kind of difficult to get that off the page, and you don't want to scribble through it or cross it out, because if you're like me, I like things to remain nice and neat and pretty. So a mechanical pencil is what I advise when you're utilizing your planner. And then you need a made-up mind and discipline. Again, this is something that you can't buy online or that you can't buy in your local store. You have to make up in your mind that you are ready to take charge of your days and take charge of a life, because for every minute you waste, or for every hour that you don't use in the way you should, the day tells the story. And then the days roll on and it becomes a week, and the weeks roll on and it becomes a month, and before you know it, you look back and you didn't get done what you needed to get done, not just for productivity purposes, but just for the pleasure and enjoyment of life, and so you look up, and because you didn't properly manage your time, things could be possibly off kilter in one way or another. And we want to make sure that we're enjoying our days, that we can feel like we were productive, but also that we enjoyed them for pleasurable purposes as well. And so you need to be disciplined and know that you're going to do this and do it to the best of your ability. Now, the first thing that I suggest that you do in doing that is evaluating your current situation. I look on social media sometimes and I see people taking pictures and posting, "This is my current situation, my current situation." So let's look at your current situation as it pertains to your time management. So what I want you to do is to get a piece of paper out and an ink pen, or however you're going to do it. And I want you to itemize, what does a typical day look like for you right now? Like, what time do you normally wake up? And what time do you normally go to bed? And what happens all up in the middle of that, from the morning to the night, or from whenever you get up to the time you go to bed? What are you doing? Are you in any type of routine or schedule? What are you accomplishing for the day? What are you getting done? And when you end the day, can you look back and feel satisfied that you enjoyed it, that you laughed, that you smiled, that you feel whole and complete, that you feel productive, you feel like you helped somebody, you feel like you loved on yourself? Do you feel satisfied at the end of the day with what you did with the time that you were given? So I want you to evaluate, and this is basically you're going to audit, if you will, the way you spend your time. So even if it's as small as writing out how much time you spent scrolling on your phone or checking notifications, or you're on social media, or you're on YouTube, or you're shopping online, all those things, all those little things, big and small. If you were on the phone for a while with someone, if you was watching reality TV, if you was doing anything at all, whatever, all the good things, all the things that maybe weren't as good, Write those things down and give a time to them. When were you doing it? From 6 to 7, I did what? Or from 7 to 8, I'm usually doing what? From 8 to 9, I'm typically doing what? All the way till time to go to bed. Because we want to look at that. And it's almost like taking a look at your finances. Even if you're in the red, you got to look at it and see it for what it is. See what your spending looks like. And in this case, we're not looking at how we're spending our money. We're looking at how we're spending our time, which is a commodity. And once you spend your time, you can never, ever, ever get it back. Now, money spent, you might can earn it again. But when it comes to time, you don't get a refund on that. So we want to make sure we're spending it wisely. Now, in contrast, we're going to plan on how we want to spend our days and how we want to spend our week and our month and our quarter and ultimately the year. And so in doing that and trying to slightly revamp your days and how you do things in the order and the flow and the agenda of the day, let's consider some things that we need to make sure we are remembering as we are adding things to our day that need to be done. We want to remember our assignment. When I say consider your assignment, I mean if the things that you are doing are not in alignment with your assignment, if it's not in alignment with your life's purpose, if it's not in alignment with the work you're supposed to be doing with your life, with your gifts, with your talents, with your passions, then you may want to leave it out. You want to consider your goals and your objectives. If some things and opportunities come to you, but they don't line up with what your goals and your objectives are, you might want to leave that out. You want to consider your passions. And if this thing really turns your stomach or helps you feel horrible when you're doing it, you have no pleasure at all, no desire at all, and it's not a part of your passions, unless it's something that's really, really pertinent and necessary, you might want to leave those things out because we want to enjoy our days. You want to consider your responsibilities. What are you supposed to do that you just have to do and there's no way around it? What are your responsibilities? What are your non-negotiables? What are things that you must do for your family? Whether it be your kids, your spouse, maybe you're taking care of a parent or a loved one, but what are your responsibilities? Because those things obviously have to be worked in your schedule. You can't take those off. Those are things you must do. And then what are your values? Because when adding things to your day and deciding that these are things you're going to spend your time on, they must align with your values. And if they don't, then you might want to leave those things out. Because the object of this is to weed out all the things that are not necessary, the things that are distractions, so that we can get to the business of doing two things: doing what you need to do and doing what you love to do. And so we're going to eliminate distractions being unnecessary phone conversations, unnecessary strolling and trolling online, unnecessary things that feeding our minds things that are not healthy. So if we're looking at reality TV and it's a lot of drama and a lot of mess, I don't know that that's the best spend for our time. That's for you to decide. I choose to feed my mind some positive things, and so and typically I don't make the time to look at too much television because there are other things that I enjoy doing, that are relaxing or contribute to my self-care, or they help me carry out something for my family or for my work. So distractions. So again, telephone, texting, scrolling online, shopping online, watching TV, just whatever it is. And so next, and not that all things you're doing are bad. They could be good things that you're spending your time on. Like you could be a part of a board or an organization, part of a club, part of a ministry. And it's not bad. It's good that you're doing these things. But is it better or is it best? Good, better, best. And so, while you may be doing a good deed, is it your good deed to really do? I know that myself, in my past life, when I was heavily active in the church, there was almost nothing that they could mention that needed to be done that if no one else did it, I would raise my hand and volunteer. I'd say, I can do that. I don't mind doing it. I can do it. And all those things weren't my gift. They were not my ministry, and every time I volunteered for something that I thought was doing good, I mean, how could you do wrong? You're doing something for the church or volunteering in the community. But that was taking away time and effort and energy I could have been putting into my family. And so they were my first priority. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm simply saying there are some things that are good, some things that are better than that, and some things that are best that really deserve the investment of your time and attention. And those are the things that I want you to spend your time and invest it on. Next, I want you to itemize and write out, imagine your ideal day, your ideal week, month, quarter, year. What does that look like? At the end of the day, what would you have needed to accomplish for you to be able to feel pleased and satisfied that your day was well spent and it was productive? Or maybe not productive, that you relaxed, or that you did something that counted or mattered to someone else, or whatever your priorities are. At the end of a day, what should have been done in your mind? And so I want you to think about those things, because I want you to build your day based on that as best possible. For me, being a mom of 4 and then myself makes 5 in the house, for me, it matters that laundry was done, that I can do at least 1 load a day. For me, it matters that, food was done, dinner was done on the table, on the stove, or whatever, on time. They weren't eating late at night, that 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, dinner was ready. It matters that I was able to, of course, tend to my business and make sure that I properly service my clients. It matters that I was able to take care of myself, that, I was able to incorporate some sort of self-care type of regimen and physical fitness and health and nutrition type of things into my day. All those things are important. Spirituality for me is important. Journaling is important. So I want to make sure that at the end of my day, I can look back and feel like I've touched on each area of life and that I've given each one of those areas my best. And so for you, what does that look like? And at the end of the week, how do you want to feel? What do you feel like you want to have accomplished by the end of your week? Every week you want to do what? Every Sunday I'm going to start doing what? Every Saturday I want to dedicate to what? At the end of the month, how do you want to feel? What do you want to feel like your month looks like? At the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, what do you want to have accomplished? And so I want you to write out the ideal day, week, month, quarter, year, from start to finish. For your ideal day, what should it look like from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed? Write out an agenda. Write out what it should look like from 5 to 5:30. I'm making up the bed and throwing a load of laundry in. From 5:30 to 6, I'm showering and washing face, brushing my teeth. Now that I'm done, I've made up the bed, I've washed my face, I've brushed my teeth, I've gotten my clothes on. Now the washer should have stopped and I should be able to throw that load of laundry into the dryer. And now I'm going to head to the kitchen and have breakfast. And, while I'm having breakfast, the clothes are going to be drying. And now that I'm done with breakfast and I've prepped dinner, and I may have gone on and thrown something in the crock pot so it can be cooking throughout the day for dinner, while all that's happening, the clothes are still drying, and then I can go ahead and start my journaling and my devotion, or reading my inspirational literature, or whatever it is that I need to do, practicing yoga or something, and by the time I'm done with all that, the clothes are dry, and now I can get started with the day. I can do my first task, which might be checking, for me, correspondence. So in the beginning of the day, once I've done all those things, those self-care things, and tidying up the house a little bit, straightening up, when I first start my work day in the morning, I always begin by checking correspondence. So that means I go and check social media for any notifications, for any inbox messages. I check my emails for messages. I may need to send a few messages or respond to some or clean it up. I might need to check my voicemails or other things like that. So that's how I start the day. And then I have a way that I flow through the rest of it. But I'm just saying, that's the way that I do my day. But I want you to imagine your ideal day. How should it look? And so on and so forth. And then, you're going to just kind of put those things into practice. I want you to list your priorities and set boundaries. So there are things you wish you could do throughout the day, the week, the month, the quarter, the year. And then there are some things you just have to do. These are your priorities, And so whatever those priorities are, it may be work responsibility, family responsibility. The kids may have a certain night of the week that they have piano lessons or basketball practice or whatever. And so you have to mark those things off. And there are other priorities that you have to do. Maybe you're taking care of your spouse, or just setting setting aside time for them, setting aside time for yourself. And otherwise, you may be a part of a board or a committee that you must, attend meetings certain days of the week or certain days of the month or whatever. So there are some things that are priorities. And so then you have to set boundaries. And in setting boundaries, you have to communicate those clearly to your family, friends, coworkers, clients, and otherwise. And so for me, I only take phone calls at a certain time of the day. And I only make phone calls on certain days of the week. So I kind of set aside Thursdays as my day that I know I'm going to be tied up on the phone. I make any kind of calls. If anyone needs to meet with me, I kind of try to get them to do that on a Thursday. Now, sometimes, it didn't work out that way and I've got to do it on a different day. But typically, I reserve Thursdays for my Zoom meetings, for my meetups with people, for phone calls, because I don't like to spend my time on the phone every day. Press 1 for this, press 2 for that. Wait till we connect you. Okay, we're going to transfer you. Like, by the time you get done with just one phone call and you've been bounced around and transferring and on hold and pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, it takes up so much time and it can just really throw you off track. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to spend my days like this. And so my boundaries are, I take phone calls at a certain time of the day. And I make phone calls on a certain day of the week, and I have those Zoom meetings and all that on a certain time. My boundaries are, if it's not, if I haven't done what I need to do for me to start my day, I don't take a phone call from someone. I know that it's nice to have a friend and all, and they want to talk about different things, but unless it's an emergency, obviously for an emergency, of course I'm taking that call. But typically, I want to just kind of get centered for my day. So my first thing that I need to do is to pray. And I need to make sure that I'm reading something positive. And I need to, my scripture in particular, for me personally, or devotional, I need to make sure that I've dealt with myself, that I've looked inward and upward, and looking inward, I make sure that I've journaled and got out my feelings and I've written out my intentions for the day so that I can say what it is that I want to achieve for the day. And for me, it is reciting my affirmations and all these things that I need before I can face another person. I have to first, for me personally, face God and face myself, deal with those things and just kind of feel good and have a good woosah. Once all those things are done and my household things are done and in order, I can then face the day. And so that's when I will begin to accept phone calls, but only during a certain period because I've got to get work done and I can't be thrown off track with phone calls and getting sidetracked. But when you set boundaries, maybe friends want to get together and go have dinner or go have a drink or whatever it is they want to do. You have to be able to say clearly, I try to set aside Fridays for that, or I try to set aside Saturdays for that. I know you guys are wanting to get together on Tuesday, but I'm kind of booked on Tuesdays. I have Fridays are my leisure day. That's when I go to wash the car, have lunch with an old friend and catch up. I may go get my eyebrows arched, or my feet painted, my feet done or something, a pedicure. Those fun and leisurely things I leave on Fridays to do. I mean, that's just on you how you do it. But for me, doing these things every day of the week eat up the time that I need to be doing other things. So you have to communicate those boundaries, and then your friends and family begin to know, oh, I know she can't do anything until Thursday or Friday or Saturday or whatever day it is. And then it just becomes easier and more acceptable for everybody. Now, with doing that, setting those boundaries, you have to also be ready to say no, because sometimes people are going to want to cross the boundary, and you'll have to just gently say, I can't do that right now, and they'll understand, but you have to feel comfortable in saying no, because again, if these things that are being requested of you don't align with your goals, your values, your priorities, or anything like that, then sometimes you just have to politely say, thank you for the opportunity, but I can't right now, or let them know when you can, but it's not right now. And so I want you to then create your routines based on your holistic needs and your responsibilities. So holistic needs are things for you. You're, incorporating into your day. You're creating your routine and things that are part of your routine based on your health and nutrition goals, your physical fitness goals, your mental wellness and emotional wellness goals, goals for your relationships to be nurtured, goals for you to love on yourself, goals for your spiritual goals, and responsibility, or I won't say responsibilities, but your spiritual priorities, and obviously those are your holistic needs, and then obviously your responsibilities are work and the things you must do for your family, the things that you have your kids involved in that you've got to take them to, or meetings that you have to go to because you run a nonprofit, or you're on a board of of something or whatever. So you're going to create your day built around these things, your holistic needs and your responsibilities. And then in some ways, I want you to find ways to multitask. So that's why I talked about, in the mornings, I get up, I make up the bed, I throw a load of laundry in the washer, and while the clothes are washing, I can then get in the shower. I'm showering, washing my hair, washing my face, brushing my teeth, and by the time I'm done with all that, the laundry should be done washing and I can throw it in the dryer. And then by the time, while it's drying, now I am getting dressed, I'm having breakfast, I am, doing whatever else I need to do. And so next thing you know, I have a whole load of laundry done and I haven't even started my day good, I've done a few things, but, and I've already felt successful. I've done something. So I want you to find ways that you can multitask and save time as well. And so practice makes perfect. Once you have created this agenda for yourself, this routine for yourself, it may be, a little challenge initially to get into the habit of really following this routine to the T, and then just have grace with yourself. Be patient. This will take a little bit of time to get used to following this new routine, especially if time management isn't your thing. In addition to following your routine, I want you to think about just arriving, to meetings, or on a phone call that's scheduled, not on time, not late, but early. That became a little game that I would play with myself. I was really bad about being 5 or 10 minutes late, and I would think, oh, so and so doesn't mind. It's okay. I'm just 5 or 10 minutes late. They haven't gotten started all that good anyway. They're probably still mixing and mingling right now. They probably haven't started the presentation yet or the meeting yet. And I always thought I could just slide in. And then that used to cause me to drive a little less safe because I'm trying to rush to get somewhere. Then I get there, I've got to ride around a few times before I can find a good parking spot. And then I've got to sign in once I get to the building. And then I've got to be pointed in the right direction to the room that the meeting or event's been taking place in. And next thing you know, I'm sliding in and I'm late. And it's so embarrassing having to scoot over top of people to get to my seat. And they're having to stand up and let me in the tight aisle. And it just became a mess, And so eventually I got tired of that, It's embarrassing and it's very stressful. And so I said, I need to be on time. So then I kind of became, I made it a thing where I wanted to make sure I was on time. And then I said, on time is late, on time is late. I want to be where I get somewhere and I have time to get settled in before it starts, before the event starts. And so I began having this goal of arriving, 20 minutes early. They give me 5 minutes to find a parking spot, 15 minutes to get inside and, find a seat. And depending on what it was, it might be a half hour early if I needed to go through a big building to get to the room it's going to be meeting in or something. But, the point is, be early and not on time, because on time is late, But all that being said, practice makes perfect. You give yourself grace, be patient, and give yourself time. And, just try it again each day. You may kind of slip up or do something off task, but eventually you will do better, and eventually you will be a master at this thing. So you need to find yourself a partner who can help you, who can encourage you, who can motivate you, who can hold you accountable, who can celebrate your successes with you and give you grace when you, maybe slip up a little bit. Somebody that you can feel really comfortable confiding in, and they're going to just motivate you. And so I want you to find someone like me. And there is no one else like me. There's only one Tiffany of organized energy. And so I want you to reach out to me. My information is here on the screen, and it will be my honor to be your accountability partner and help you through this. So I thank you so much for tuning in and listening, and I want to stay in touch with you. So please visit me at organizedenergy.co, and also you can visit me on social media. The handle is Organized Energy, and also I have a podcast that deals with work-life balance and time management and personal development type of topics, and that is Life Unscripted Podcast. That's available on the website And it's also available on Spotify and any major podcast streaming platform. And so I look forward to hearing from you. I just can't wait to work with you. I know that we can get some good things accomplished when we put our two heads together. So with that being said, I wish you a wonderful day and thank you so much for spending this time with me. Have a good one.